The next item that caught my interest this last week was a story in the Washington Post. That newspaper did some digging. It basically discovered, and if you read the story you'll see it, that admissions policies at elite universities are very careful to take into account when deciding who to admit, who to reject, who to put on a waiting list, a sort of in-between. They take account of whether the candidate, the young person looking to get into the school, comes from a family that is rich or not, a family that has donated money to this university or not, and a family that might in the future, because it's well-heeled, be able to give money, especially if approached by the university in regard to the child of the family that the university accepted. In other words, if you've got the money, you get your kid into the good school. Is that the case? The Washington Post wondered. It did the research, it got the documents, and its answer is a resounding yes. And it's another reminder that the people at the top, the 1%, use their money, use the lure of their money to give their children all kinds of advantages other people don't have, which gives those children a leg up to become themselves part of the 1% and to reproduce it. It is a sign of a capitalism getting old and a capitalism keeping the same people in the same position no matter what. And it's therefore a capitalism that cannot tap the energies, the enthusiasms, the creativity, the intelligence of all kinds of people, because you know when a well-heeled family that made a contribution gets their child in, another child is kept out. And that's not a child whose ability is less. No, it's a child who didn't get born into a family that has given or may give money to the school. Keep in mind, we don't do education like that everywhere, do we? Primary schools, secondary schools, everybody gets into the school. It's your right, it's your obligation as a parent to give your child the right to an education. High schools do not, in general, at least not the public ones, have the ability to exclude people who don't have enough money. The private high schools, well, that's another matter. And when you talk to the schools, they explain to you, we have to do that. We're competing with all the other schools. If we don't admit the kinds of people who are likely to give us money, we'll fall behind. And what are those schools then saying? They're part of a system, they're saying. Don't single them out, they're saying. Don't punish us because we have to behave this way, even if we don't like it, because the system works in such a way that we will be self-destructive if we don't do something which even we know, as the Washington Post story tells, is undemocratic and unjust, and in the long run, bad for a society and even its economic system.